Are our leaders in grave danger? Imagine a country where the safety of our leaders is jeopardized and citizens are left questioning the integrity of those in power. In our constitutional republic, this is a stark reality we must confront as we witness alarming events unfold. Recent news highlights not only the threats to our political landscape, but also the ongoing shifts in the workplace and education that will impact our future. Welcome to hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, where we cut through the noise and misinformation to bring you the facts. Let me start with a quick story. There was once a time in this country when speaking the truth wasn't a revolutionary act. Now, every word we speak seems to face censorship and scrutiny, especially when it goes against the left's narrative. But we're not backing down because, in a constitutional republic like ours, liberty means standing firm. Even when that tide is turned against you. That's what hashtag Go Right is all about. Now, let's dive into today's stories. I think it's time for us to go right. Threats against our constitutional republic uncovered in chilling assassination plot. The state of our constitutional republic is under intense scrutiny as alarming events unfold, particularly surrounding a foiled assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, the second one. Recent revelations from the Department of Justice have disclosed a letter from Ryan Rolfe, the individual charged in this assassination plot, in which he chillingly offers a $150,000 bounty for anyone willing to, quote, complete the job. Ralph's unsettling words captured the gravity of the situation. Quote, "This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and I gave it all my gumption I could matter. It is up to you to now finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whoever can complete the job." Let me let you know, folks, he's not going to be able to pay you. He's going to be in jail. There ain't no money in jail. Just cigarettes and other things. This letter raises critical questions about the motivations behind such threats. Investigations have uncovered that Rolfe spent significant time scouting Trump's movements, including monitoring his daily patterns at the Mar-a-Lago resort and the West Palm Beach golf resort. Ralph was found with 6 cell phones in his vehicle, one of which contained Google searches for directions to Mexico. His evidence was pivotal for the DOJ prepares to file charges of attempted assassination against him. Moreover, Rolfe's ties to the Iranian regime further amplify concerns regarding the origins of his funding. In a 2023 book, he called for Iran to assassinate Trump, citing the former president's policies towards Iran as motivation. This leads us to question how deep these connections run and who else may be involved in this chilling narrative. With a $150,000 bounty in play and evidence on Ralph's travels to and from Ukraine, it's prudent to ask, where is this funding coming from and what networks may be supporting his intentions? And I'd like to have the question of, when the heck did they think that this guy supported Donald Trump? I don't understand that one. Doesn't seem like he ever did. The DOJ's decision to release such a volatile, and what also gets me is the man was active while I was in the GOP in Guilford County around 2018 or so, because this guy lived there in North Carolina. All right, the DOJ's decision to release such a volatile letter is also perplexing. While Ralph currently faces federal firearm charges, the letter is critical evidence of his intent for the impending assassination charges. However, one must wonder if making this information public further endangers Trump's life. Donald Trump Jr. raised an important concern, suggesting that the DOJ's release could inadvertently put Trump at a greater risk. Ralph's research into Trump's daily movements paints a troubling picture of calculated premeditation. And in a disturbing twist, and I knew it was going to come, Ralph's son, Orhan Ralph, has also been arrested on federal charges related to possessing child pornography. Investigators discovered hundreds of child pornography files during a search of Oran's residence, which occurred during an investigation unrelated to child exploitation. This adds another layer of tragedy to an already convoluted situation, raising further questions about the moral fabric of those involved in this entire affair. As these unsettling events unfold, we must remain vigilant and aware of the threats that challenge the integrity of our constitutional republic and the intersection of political threats, familiar legacies, and moral decay presents a complex narrative that demands our attention. Now, public sentiment. Amidst these unfolding stories, it is notable that Secret Service approval ratings have hit a record low. This decline signals a growing concern among citizens regarding the safety and security of our elected officials. As a constitutional republic, we must prioritize the position and protection of our leaders and address the challenges that contribute to these low approval ratings. And giving historical content as we consider the current state of our justice system and workplace dynamics, it is essential to reflect on our history. The first Supreme Court was established in 1789, setting the groundwork for our judicial system and ensuring that the rule of law prevails in our constitutional republic. Understanding our legal foundations is vital as we evaluate the justice system's response to threats and criminal behavior in our modern age. Funding crisis in our constitutional republic. In the recent days, the House Rules Committee has opted against a crucial vote on a short-term spending bill aimed at preventing a government shutdown. I say shut it down. Shut it down. This decision sets the stage for Speaker Mike Johnson to rely on Democratic support to pass a funding bill. A scenario that raises eyebrows and concerns among conservatives, except for sometimes we have to reach across the aisles. There's nothing wrong with it, people. If you feel behind on these latest developments, the National Pulse has provided a detailed explanation of the ongoing situation, but I've broke it down a little bit more for you. As both houses of Congress scramble to devise an emergency funding package ahead of the impending November election, there is an evident fear of backlash from voters. Continuing resolutions are not new to Capitol Hill. They serve as temporary measures designed to provide Congress with more time to formulate comprehensive budget bills. However, the stakes are significantly heightened as we approach a presidential election. Under the leadership of Speaker Mike Johnson, House Republicans have attempted to advance a continuing resolution that included several conservative policy priorities, only to see their efforts thwarted by internal party disputes. The most recent funding proposal, which garnered some support from Senate Democrats and a fraction of Republicans, has drawn criticism from conservatives who feel it betrays their interests. This failure could have proved detrimental to Johnson's long-term prospects as Speaker. I think the fix to this is say any spending bills have to only deal with spending. No adding like this little clause of abortion here, or this little clause on marriage here, or this little clause, stuff that has nothing to do with spending or the economy. That needs to be left off that bill, and it needs to really just talk about what the hell we do spending money in the government. But yet somehow we keep running out of money every couple of months, and we somehow give all our money to overseas. All our money overseas. The roots of this funding crisis extend beyond just Speaker Johnson and House Republicans. Blame can be laid squarely at the feet of Senate Democrats and their Republican counterparts, who have stalled the budget bills initially passed by the House. Senator Susan Collins accurately points to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer as a key player in this funding debacle. Schumer's decision to delay the budget bills, creating a standoff just before election, appears to be a strategic mover aimed at forcing Republicans into a difficult position. While some of this delay may be attributed to poor scheduling, a significant portion reflects the calculated effort to undermine Republican leverage. So Johnson's proposed short-term funding bill met with rejection in the House just recently. Despite its inclusion of critical conservative measures like the SAVE Act aimed at tightening federal regulations to prevent non-citizens from voting, The bill fell victim to infighting among House conservatives. This defeat comes as a surprise given the tacit support from former President Donald Trump and the proposed funding timeline extending into late March of the following year. So I guess 2025. However, Democrats oppose the longer timeline, advocating for a shorter funding plan that could hinder a future Trump administration's budgetary goals. While some conservatives see the rejection of Johnson's bill as a victory, believing it enhances their bargaining power with Senate Democrats, the reality may be more complex. The push for a clean, continuing resolution could lead to yet another funding confrontation in December. Critics have pointed out that the SAVE Act's attachment was merely a strategy to secure conservative votes without addressing the pressing issue of non-citizen voters in the imminent election. Furthermore, the outcome of the failed resolution might actually represent conservatives' most advantageous position, given the narrow margins in the House and the Democrats' control of the Senate. As of now, Speaker Johnson has introduced a new clean continuing resolution that lacks the controversial SAVE Act, proposing to maintain government funding at current levels through December 20th, 2024. The Rules Committee gets us through the election. The Rules Committee's vote on this bill will be pivotal. Conservative members may seek to block it, pushing Johnson to consider moving the resolution under suspension, which requires a 2/3 majority, essentially relying on bipartisan support. Should this resolution advance, it sets the stage for yet another round of negotiations just before the conclusion of this lame duck Congress. In conclusion, the funding fight underscores the ongoing challenges facing our constitutional republic as Congress grapples with the complexities of governance in our election year. The interplay of party dynamics, strategic maneuvering, and the need for effective leadership will shape the landscape in the days to come. And as citizens, we must remain vigilant and informed about how these decisions impact the fundamental principles of our democracy. Workplace trends. Shifting gears, recent surveys show that 79% of CEOs are advocating for full-time employees by 2027. This trend indicates a strong desire among business leaders to stabilize their workforce post-pandemic. The shift back to full-time positions suggests that companies are anticipating a need for increased productivity and collaboration that remote work may not fully provide. As our constitutional republic navigates the challenges posed by the pandemic, these insights signal a critical moment for economic recovery. Yet, I still think in a lot of positions you can work remotely and it works out well. It builds on family. It gives people better family time. And there's no need for people to be at desks doing things that they could do at home. Yeah, you can do a meeting, in a meeting room where everybody can stare at each other. Or you can do it like you've been doing it through video conference, which I think actually makes people more in tune with the meeting because everybody's seeing everybody on the screen. Meanwhile, career insights for those navigating their educational career paths. A recent report highlights that the highest paying bachelor's degree by mid-career is in petroleum engineering. As the energy sector continues to evolve, this degree can open doors to lucrative opportunities. In an ever-changing job market, making informed educational choices is crucial for future success. Escalating conflicts and political spending in America. In a recent surge of violence, Israeli strikes on Lebanon have resulted in the deaths of over 490 individuals, marking the deadliest military engagement since the 2006 Israel-Hezbollah conflict. This situation in the Middle East is dire, prompting the Biden-Harris regime to deploy additional troops to the region. This move indicates an escalating concern about the intensifying warfare between Israel and Hezbollah, which raises critical questions about our nation's foreign policy and military commitments. I think the key word is deploying additional troops to the region. Because remember, Kamala Harris, during her debate with Trump, said this is the first time in America's history that we've had no troops in any war zones and anywhere. And then the soldiers that are there are like, well, where the hell are we then? As we witness those troubling developments overseas, it's essential to reflect on how these conflicts impact us domestically. A clear strategy is needed rather than knee-jerk reactions that seem to characterize this administration's approach. We must prioritize the safety of American citizens while fostering stability in regions fraught with violence and unrest. And I know a lot of people say the Republicans are warmongers and stuff, but honestly, when you're putting most danger, as I think when the Democrats are in order. Yeah, because I really think that they put you in the most danger, at least recently. In another domain, the competition for political influence is heating up as Democrats have spent a staggering $1.8 billion on political advertising since August 1st of 2024. This figure stands in stark contrast to the $1.3 billion invested by Republicans, probably because Donald Trump doesn't really have to advertise. The disparity in campaign spending showcases the aggressive strategies employed by the left. I've seen their commercials. It's just lies, 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 to sway public opinion as we approach the election season. It's a clear reminder that financial resources can play a pivotal role in shaping electoral outcomes, and we must strategize effectively to counter this financial might. But I also got to remind you, folks, that whoever has the most war chest is not always the best. There's plenty of people, especially in North Carolina, who's had a lot of money and they still ain't won elections. Because if people don't like them and they don't have a good message, I don't care how much money you throw at it, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's campaign has identified nearly 500,000 low-propensity voters, aiming to galvanize support and secure a victory in the upcoming election. This initiative is indicative of a strategic focus on increasing voter turnout among those who may not typically engage in the electoral process. Mobilizing these voters could be crucial in reclaiming power and steering the country back towards the principles that uphold our constitutional republic. Folks, I will constantly say constitutional republic throughout my articles and videos because I'm a constitutionalist for liberty, and that's how I refer to this country. Moving on the tech front, Telegram CEO Pavel Durov has faced legal challenges in France, leading him to agree to provide user data to authorities under valid legal requests. This raises significant concerns about privacy and the extent to which tech companies are willing to compromise user security under government pressure. As citizens of a constitutional republic, we must remain vigilant about our rights and the privacy of our information. I really liked using Telegram. I like the fact that your data and stuff was stored. But now it seems like a government can just breach your security, breach your privacy. Especially if you're not doing anything. If you're doing something criminal, I can understand. But if you're not doing anything criminal, it's kind of BS, folks. Furthermore, the Biden-Harris regime has opposed legislation aimed at prohibiting Chinese Communist Party officials from acquiring land in the United States. This decision is alarming considering the growing concern about foreign influence and the potential implications for our national security. Protecting our land and resources from adversaries is not merely a political stance, it's a necessity for preserving our sovereignty. Finally, in a thrilling development for space exploration, Elon Musk's SpaceX is planning to launch a launch 5 uncrewed starships to Mars within 2 years, with the hope of sending crewed missions within 4 years if these initial launches succeed. This ambitious endeavor highlights the technological advances we are making and the potential for humanity to extend its reach beyond Earth. I mean, you can imagine if we can get robots and things to build like places, like could they build places so when we send humans, there's already built areas for the people to go to. In conclusion, we can, as we navigate through these turbulent times, it's crucial to remain informed and engaged. The decision made by our leaders today will shape the future of our constitutional republic. Let's advocate for policies that uphold our values and ensure the safety and prosperity of all Americans. Remember, it's our duty to hold our government accountable and to stand firm. We got more. Ukrainian election interference and FBI transparency concerns in recent developments. The trip of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky of the United States has raised serious questions about election interference. Zelensky's visit to Pennsylvania, where he appeared alongside Kamala Harris, surrogates like Governor Josh Shapiro, has sparked concerns among political commentators and citizens alike. Critics argue that this trip, funded by the U.S. taxpayers, serves to bolster Harris and the Democrats while undermining Republican candidates. During an interview with New York Magazine, Zelensky openly criticized Donald Trump, stating, quote, "My feelings is that Trump doesn't really know how to stop the war, even if he might think he knows how." He also targeted Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, labeling him as too radical. This kind of direct political commentary from a foreign leader during an election cycle raises the question, is this a case of meddling in American elections? I gotta tell you, folks, Donald Trump wants peace. This is literally a Russian civil war. Ukraine, Russia, it's a civil war. It's not a battle over like religion or land per se. It's a civil war between the two countries. And our current regime has basically taken a side, said they want Ukraine to win. They're working actively against Russia. They're trying to drive us toward a war, a full-out war with Russia, which is another World War III. We don't need that. We do need to have some relations and stuff. And I don't like how this Zelensky guy's in, because he is using us, using America for a paycheck, honestly. I mean, in conspiracy theorist mind, I start thinking maybe Putin and Zelensky are in cahoots with each other. You know, I know it's laughable, but I mean, if Russia was trying to bleed us dry and take our money, why not use Zelensky? Who knows? You don't never know what's going on, honestly. But Trump's made it clear. He made a clear promise to end the conflict between Russia and Ukraine if he is elected president. He has consistently reminded voters of his track record during his tenure. I mean, he brought peace in the Middle East, and it destroyed it right after he was gone. He emphasized that there are no new wars or conflicts while he was in office. That's true. At a recent campaign rally, Trump jokingly remarked, "I think Zelensky is the best salesman in history. Every time he comes into the country, he walks away with $60 billion. He wants so badly for Dems to win this election, but I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to work to achieve peace." This highlights Trump's commitment to a different approach, one that focuses on resolution rather than continuous military involvement. We need that. I'd rather have the $60 billion to help people like our homeless people, to help people like my father, a veteran, to help people get food and clothes, to basically put Americans first. Things that we need. I mean, we have a budget crunch. We have the government shutting down. And meanwhile, another $60 billion to Ukraine. Furthermore, recent polling indicates that the American public is increasingly skeptical of a further financial support of Ukraine, with only 24% in favor of increased funding, while 31% oppose it, because we're all hurting at the pumps. We barely can pay our rent. People can barely eat. There is nobody really that's really able to spend that much money. And I know people are shopping and people are spending. Yeah, but everybody's putting on credit cards and everybody's hurting and everybody's crunching and everybody's working themselves to the bone. And yeah, it's easier to spend money now because electronics and stuff have gotten a lot cheaper. And then maybe people are spending more money on like food and stuff because honestly, sometimes it's cheaper to go out to eat than it is to, cook at home. Now, this disconnect between the actions of foreign leaders and the sentiments of American citizens is concerning and prompts an urgent need for dialogue regarding the influence of foreign powers in our domestic elections. And another significant matter, the FBI's accumulation of sensitive information is raising alarms regarding accountability and transparency within our constitutional republic. I wrote a whole article on this on GoRightNews.com, but I'm added into this news report. Reports indicate that the FBI now holds what many believe to be the largest constellation of potentially incriminating materials ever assembled. It's kind of like the Infinity Gauntlet of blackmail. This collection includes items such as Anthony Weiner's laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop, the data related to high-profile individuals like Jeffrey Epstein, now P. Diddy. The implications of such vast reserves of data are troubling. Critics fear this collection could be weaponized, serving not to uphold justice, but rather to manipulate political outcomes. Without transparency, the American public is left in the dark, questioning whether the truth will ever be revealed or if these files will be withheld from, quote, we the people. It is imperative for a thriving constitutional republic that we maintain a commitment to transparency and accountability in law enforcement. Citizens deserve access to the information held by the FBI and clear understanding of whether justice is genuinely being served. As we navigate these complex issues, the commitment of #GoRight is to cut through misinformation and provide the facts necessary for informed citizenship. Remember, this fight transcends partisan lines. It is fundamentally about right versus wrong. That's why I call it Go Right. Right versus wrong. Stay tuned for ongoing coverage and insights into these pressing matters. We're going to go into what the next phase of this podcast, and then we'll wrap it up with our Go Right Recap Remix with another great Go Right music video. We'll be right back.
Are our leaders in grave danger? Yeah, that's the question on the street. From the shadows, threats arise, and we're feeling the heat. A constitutional republic we defend day by day, but always say for do the dangers make us sway. Keep our republic strong, don't let it fall. We'll rise against the threats, we'll stand tall. For Go Right News, for those who fight, we're standing for truth in the morning light. From the halls of justice to the battlefield of far, we're watching, waiting, who's gonna raise the bar? With bounties on heads and secrets untold, gotta protect our leaders, gotta be bold. Don't let fear take the stage, we won't back down. In this constitutional republic, we'll wear the crown. For the brave and free, we'll always fight. Go Right News leads with all its might. Assassination plots whispered in the wind, but the truth is stronger. Where do we begin? They can't tear us down, we're too strong to break. In this land of liberty, it's our lives at stake. Let the brass blow loud, let the rhythm ride. We're fighting for justice with American pride. For Go Right News, we'll always stand, defending liberty across this land. With the DOJ and question motives unclear, we won't let corruption control what we hold dear. We'll follow the money, we'll expose the lies. Constitutionalists for America, it's time to rise. We're the heartbeat of this land, will never fade. The strength of our nation will not degrade. For the truth, for our leaders, we'll march along. Constitutionalists unite, we'll keep fighting strong. They want to shut us down, take away our voice, but we've got the power, we've made our choice. From Capitol Hill to the streets below, we'll never be silenced, we'll let the whole world know. Swing the beat, let the brass sound out, we're raising our flag, there's no doubt. For Go Right News, we'll keep it alive. In our republic, we'll always survive. So here's to the fight. It's long and it's hard, but we'll hold our ground. We'll stand on guard with the truth as our weapon and courage our guide. In this constitutional republic, we'll never hide. With horns in the air and the drums rolling fast, we're fighting for freedom. We'll make it last. For Go Right News and our leaders so grand, we're keeping this republic. We'll make a stand.
Welcome back. This is the hashtag GoRight Remix recap. If you haven't already, please share this video. This is a quick recap of what we just talked about. If you just tuned in, thanks for tuning in. We do this every time. Imagine a nation where the safety of our leaders are threatened, leaving citizens questioning the integrity of those in power. This is the stark reality we face in our constitutional republic. Recent events have revealed alarming threats, including a chilling assassination plot against former President Donald Trump, shedding light on the dangerous dynamics surrounding our political landscape. And in today's episode of hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, we really cut through the noise, and we delivered you the facts. Once speaking the truth was a commonplace. Now it feels revolutionary as we combat censorship and misinformation. So let's explore how those challenges affect us. There are threats against our constitutional republic. A foiled assassination attempt against Donald Trump has emerged. It's the second time. With unsettling details from the Department of Justice highlighting the motivations behind such threats. The chilling letter from the suspect reveals a $150,000 bounty for his assassination, which raised critical questions about the origins of his funding, especially considering his ties to the Iranian regime. I mean, are the CIA out to get Donald Trump? The FBI? The DNC? MI6? Harris? Current administration? Who knows? Meanwhile, the public believes, as these events unfold, that the Secret Service's approval ratings are alarmingly low, indicating growing concern for the safety of our leaders. Because in our constitutional republic, we must prioritize the protection of those who elected to serve us. And we're also having a funding crisis. The House Rules Committee recent decision not to advance a critical spending bill has created a precarious funding crisis. With the upcoming election, Speaker Mike Johnson faces significant challenges as he navigates party disputes and the looming threat of a government shutdown. And it's all because the SAVE, which basically said, we're going to make sure illegals, people who aren't American citizens, don't vote in our elections. But we had to take that out because the Democrats want our elections to be skewed by people who aren't supposed to be voting. Meanwhile, in workplace trends, interestingly, surveys indicate a shift back to full-time employment, signaling a desire among CEOs to stabilize their workforces post-pandemic. This move is critical for economic recovery as we adapt to changing workplace dynamics, which I still think a lot of people should be working at home. It's better, and it still works, as long as it works. Meanwhile, there's escalating conflicts. Escalating violence overseas and aggressive political spending highlight the urgent need for strategic planning. As Democrats outpace Republicans in political ad spending, the importance of mobilizing support among low propensity voters becomes increasingly clear. We've got to get out to vote. And lastly, there's FBI transparency concerns. Concerns around the FBI's accumulation of sensitive information raises alarms about accountability and transparency in our justice system. And as citizens, we deserve clarity regarding the potential weaponization of this data. It's the people's data. The government's supposed to be working for us. Now, as we navigate these turbulent times, it's crucial to remain informed and engaged. And these choices made by our leaders today will shape the future of our constitutional republic tomorrow. So for more information and insights, visit GoRightNews.com and stay connected with us at GoRightNews on Rumble.com and search for hashtag GoRight with Peter Boykin on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, and more. Your support is invaluable. Consider donating via Cash App at Peter Boykin, the number 1, with links available on GoRightNews.com and PeterBoykin.com. And every podcast, I have this right behind me, well, on this side, right behind me. And if you scan that, that will take you, and I just updated it, it will take you to a link tree of various links that you can go to. But these same links are on Go Right News and peterboykin.com. So together, let's continue to fight for truth and integrity in our republic. And remember, it's time to go right. Peace, everybody. God bless.